Hi, Dave from the West Coast Davengers. Sometimes I like to go on long walks and contemplate comics. And sometimes I come up with a piece of advice for you. And that advice is, please, buy Turok #1s. This has been a PSA from the West Coast Davengers.
West Coast Avengers. West Coast Avengers. Ah! Ah!
Welcome back to the West Coast Avengers. I'm your host, OJ Simpson. It's Dave. I am a comic book expert, a comic book enthusiast, a comic book reader, a collector, and a seller. This is my show, and today we're doing a haul video. I just picked up a collection from somebody in Olympia, about 30 miles south of me. I found it on OfferUp. I set up a meet, and I went to the person's house. You're just seeing 3 long boxes. Actually, in the other room that I can see is another 3 long boxes and a bunch of boxes of other things. I didn't know what to expect, and I looked through most of it when I was there, but I didn't kind of go over it with a fine-tooth comb. The person's uncle who passed away, they were just trying to get rid of everything. It's mostly stuff in the last 10, 12 years. There are some very interesting kind of serendipitous books in here and things like that. Today, this morning, it was the morning that my Savage Dragon video dropped, and it just so happens to be that there's like an entire run of Savage Dragon in this collection, as well as some hardcovers that have to do with current topics of episodes that I've shot or that I will be shooting. I thought it would be fun to go through what's in here and kind of talk it out. Sometimes when I talk it out in front of the camera, it becomes clear what I have. And I know this is it's not like a banger collection, but there is some stuff in here that is, in my weird wheelhouse. If you've been watching this channel, then you know that I do tend to skew towards the side of weird and independent and the non-Marvel DC stuff for some of the collections that I buy. And if you're just watching for the first time, please hit like. Please subscribe. Every Wednesday is West Coast Wednesday of my comic book auction and claim sale. Every Sunday I drop a video like the one you're watching now, and Sunday night is Sunday Sit Down, and every month at the end of the month on Sunday Sit Down we do book club, and this month's book is going to be great. So why don't you pick it up and read it? And it's funny because one of the books that we're going to be doing in book club that we might have already done since you're watching this video is Weapon X, the Barry Windsor Smith Wolverine origin story, and there's a copy of the hardcover in this collection. So there's definitely some stuff in here that I've never heard of, like Snarked from Kaboom, but the person was a big Erik Larsen fan, a Robert Kirkman fan. Got a big chunk of Super Dinosaur. Infinite Kung Fu by Kagan McLeod. That's a signed little sketched copy to Charles, or thanks Charles. And I guess his name was Charles. And originally, the woman was like, oh, you take a look. If you want to buy everything, you can. But then she said, if you see some stuff you want, pick it out and we'll figure out a price. They wanted to get rid of everything, which I understand. And I started kind of putting together a long box of stuff. The husband or boyfriend said, will you just take it all? And I said, I can't. I think they wanted $1,000 for everything, and I said I can't spend $1,000. It's just not worth it. And I told him that I'm going to sell a lot of this stuff and then keep the stuff that I really want. And he said, come up with a number. I said 400. They came back with 500. I paid 500. The Secret History of D.B. Cooper, which D.B. Cooper, if you're not familiar with the story, robbed a bank, hijacked a plane, and they never found his body. They never found him or the money. The Hero Initiative benefit book with a Adam Hughes cover. A lot of this stuff is going to be on West Coast Wednesday this coming Wednesday. Darwin Cook cover. Lorna Relic Wrangler. Lots of dollar books in here. Lots of stuff that's going to be sold as bulk to my guy who buys my bulk stuff, which is fine. There is a run of Thief of Thieves in here, which is a Robert Kirkman book. And I know that low print run for the first couple issues, and it became quite popular. I read it when it came out. I read the first 5 issues or 6 issues. Some Justice League, Jim Lee and Jeff Johns. Let me tell you, I read this when it came out. and it was so disappointingly bad. If you disagree with me, let me know. Strike Force Morituri. Eesh. All right, on to the second box. There's an Invincible hardcover in here, and then there's a whole bunch of Invincible trade paperbacks, and I love Invincible. I'm currently in the middle of reading the omnibuses and rereading it. This person had pretty good taste, like loved the weird stuff, like I said, like Rob Zombie presents L's Super Beasto. C. Todd, Read Todd, Kirkman, Otley, Capullo, and McFarlane. That's the first trade paperback of Haunt. I'm due for a reread on it. I read it when it came out, and I don't remember a damn thing about it. There is a huge run of Savage Dragon in here, and I know some of these get to be pretty expensive because they're a low print run. So I've got some in the 200 range, including this, which I am really excited to check out. At some point during his presidency, Erik Larsen put Donald Trump in the comic, and I think this is a take on Donald Trump that we all know and love, which is he's a big fucking idiot. And so I'm excited to check that out. Issue number 200. So I know there's some keys in here. I don't know specifically what. I know there's an Invincible preview in one of the issues of Savage Dragon. He was also a big Mike Allred fan, and there's a ton of Mike Allred stuff in here, including some signed prints, but we've got the Allred Silver Surfer run in there. Angel and Faith, some Buffy stuff. Never was a Buffy fan, but I'm sure somebody out there is. We got some Harley Quinn stuff in here. Harley Quinn 0, Harley Quinn 1, 2 different covers. Here's one of the only old issues in here, a Detective 418, which is the Return of the Creeper, and some Steve Ditko stuff. This is called Ditko Package. And then there's a huge chunk of Mad Men in here and Mike Allred stuff. So The Tick meets Mad Men, Daredevil Allred cover, Wolverine and the X-Men. If you're not familiar with Mike Allred, you really need to familiarize yourself with him. He's actually a Northwest native and just such a unique artist that's been around for 30 years, and he's still relevant today. This is a book called It Girl he did. Trade paperbacks of Madman. Here's something called Red Rocket, which is a signed edition. The trade paperbacks of iZombie, which I remember when this book came out, and I think I bought the first issue, and I wasn't totally into it, and then I realized that I probably should have given it more time because it turned into a wildly popular series and then got adapted into a show. And this is definitely something that I will be selling, and I'm sure this is probably out of print, but this is a X-Statix and X-Force omnibus. This is the X-Statix collection. It is signed by Mike Allred in the first page. All right, third box. Okay, this one's going to be interesting because this is where I think most of the Savage Dragon stuff is. But also there's these 2 bags in the back that seem to have books that he bought when they came out, but he never organized them. Here's an Image United number 1, which I don't think they ever finished this, but that is the gold cover. I don't know if it's worth anything. Yeah. If you are aware and you watched the video where I went through the Graphic Fantasy number 1, which is the first appearance of Savage Dragon, I am a very big Erik Larsen fan, so this box seems to be heavy into Erik Larsen and Savage Dragon. I've never seen this before, Twisted Savage Dragon Funnies. All right, now we get into Savage Dragon. So there's your number 1, and there's your other number 1. Oh, there's another copy of this. I've been talking about this very recently, Savage Dragon and Destroyer Duck, and team up of Savage Dragon and Mad Men in Savage Dragon 83 and 84. That's a really cool cover. Savage Dragon 111. Barack Obama on the cover. He used to put presidents in these books all the time. Another amazing cover. 152. Oh god, there's the weird like Osama bin Laden cover. There's a weird Savage Dragon Reader's Digest. Oh, here we go. Spawn Kills Everyone. McFarlane cover. Madman and Frank Einstein. It looks like a 3D comic. That is the first 3 boxes. Anyway, Secret Avengers number 23. This is one of the Eddie Brock Venom or Flash Thompson Venom keys. But this is the Captain Marvel number 1 second print variant. Sketch cover or whatever you want to call it. This Kelly Sue DeConnick Captain Marvel run is in here as well. I don't know if it holds any actual value, but it's Kelly Sue DeConnick. The Hawkeye Matt Fraction run, the whole run's in here. There's the Legion of Monsters 4-part series. This is the Free Comic Book Day Hip Hop Family Tree by Ed Piskor, which is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year. A whole mess of IDW Turtles. 3 copies so far, 3 covers of the number 1. Got cover B with Donatello, Cover C with Leo. Cover D with Michelangelo. I didn't read Berserk, but that was the Keanu Reeves series that came out. And this apparently is a third print cover. It had a price tag of $75. Is it worth that? I have no clue. Here's The Thief of Thieves, #1. I believe that is a first print, and there's the second issue. Here was something that I didn't know. That apparently Youngblood went into a 5th volume at some point, like 2012. And here's issues 71 through 77. I love this homage to issue #1. But yeah, there's some, they're all Liefeld covers, but he didn't do, I guess he didn't write it. But I'm seeing this stuff for the first time. I got to imagine it's a low print run too. Check this one out. Liefeld doing a like zombie version homage to cover of the first issue. And I think the last issue's not in here. I think 77 is the second to last issue. But I thought this was cool. A Popeye #1 from IDW, which homages Action Comics #1. Wow, that's a weird thing to say. Noir horror. This is Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips' Fatale, which I believe I read it when it came out. There we go. This is a fun read. The Paul Dini, Bruce Timm, Batman, Harley Quinn, Mad Love Story. Gotham City Sirens. Trade paperbacks. I've never seen this collected. Bane Batman. Batman Year One Scarecrow. Sam Keith Arkham Asylum Madness. Joker's Asylum. The good thing is with the trades, you know, if they're out of print and they're worth a lot, I'll throw them up on eBay. Oh, look, another copy of The Killing Joke, the deluxe edition, and then the Neil Gaiman story, which I've been dying to reread this, Whatever Happened to the Cape Crusader. There's a really nice stack of Batman hardcovers in here. Arkham City, Life After Death, Bruce Jones, Sam Keith, Through the Looking Glass, a classic too, the Brian Azzarello, Lee Bermejo Joker book. We've got a Legends of the Dark Knight, Jim Aparo, Volume 1. Legends of the Dark Knight, Marshall Rogers with the Joker fish on the cover. These are pretty cool. I am imagining that these are, if not out of print, they are close to it. 2 omnibuses in here, and one being this classic Wolverine one. This is the variant cover by Steve McNiven, which homages Frank Miller. And this runs through Weapon X. This gives you Hulk 180 through 182. This gives you the Wolverine miniseries by Frank Miller and Chris Claremont. Bunch of other straggler issues, including the entire Kitty Pryde Wolverine series. Bunch of Marvel Comics Presents, and then Wolverine 1 through 10. Like, this is like the essential Wolverine omnibus. And even though I bet you this is worth some money because it's the variant cover, I might end up keeping this. I'm going to be doing this for the Sunday Sit Down Book Club of March, and that is Wolverine Weapon X by Barry Windsor Smith. There is a big chunk of Amazing Spider-Man. Now, there is some McFarlane in here, but there's no ASM 300. But check this out. Spider-Man Hooky, classic by Bernie Wrightson. A fantastic, fun read. I have the trade paperback of it, but that's a single reprint that they did. ASM 692. Mars Attacks versus Image, which is a fun read also. It was one of the first Davengers episodes I did. I found this at a garage sale or something, and I talked about it. So we get into some of the Erik Larsen Spider-Man. There's some of the classic Venom covers. And then you've got some Todd. You've got the Assassination Plot, and it looks like all the parts. ASM 320 through 325. Complete. When you see Todd, you buy Todd. When you see Todd, you read Todd. Another classic, The Return of the Sinister Six by Erik Larsen, which essentially is the second appearance of the Sinister Six as a team. There's no first appearance of Carnage in here, but there's a first Cletus Cassidy in here and first Cardiac. And then these 2 legendary books, which I just talked about on the episode that dropped the morning that I'm filming this, is those 2 Erik Larsen legendary Venom covers. Got an ASM 350. It goes into the regular Spider-Man title with the other Erik Larsen, Revenge of the Sinister Six. I always have problems saying Sinister Six fast. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's this. Ultimate Comics Spider-Man #1. The second appearance of Miles Morales. If somebody were to press this polybag line out, you might be looking at a 9.6 on it. But I'm stoked on that. This book itself should make up for a big chunk of the purchase price of this. Of course, there's 3 omnibuses in here. One of my favorite characters, Wolverine. And another one of my favorite character and my favorite artist's run. This is the Todd McFarlane Amazing Spider-Man Omnibus. I talk about this book often, with friends and on the channel. This is the 5th box, and now we're on to the last box of comics. And I threw some of the toys in here, but there's some Dorbs whatever the fuck, Q-Fig, Deadpool stuff. Skull Kickers trade paperbacks. Skull Kickers single issues. I've never read this. I just heard of it. Oh, I forgot about something that's in here. Well, first off, I didn't even look at this. You got one of the Alan Moore Supremes. Apparently, Erik Larsen did some Supreme, which I didn't know about. Supreme versus Omni-Man out of the pages of Invincible. This is a part of Image Comics that is the dark era for me. I was reading, and you're going to see something that I totally forgot was in here. You're going to see what I was reading in Image Comics in the mid-2000, and then into the 2010s. But I wasn't even aware that Supreme was being made. Now, this is a book that I was reading in 2012. We got another copy of the first issue of Saga. So between this and the Ultimate Comics #1, this should make up for most of what I spent. This is a first print of Saga #1. I have a copy. I was collecting this when it came out, and it is one of the greatest comic books to come out in the last 20 years. If you're not aware or you've never read Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples, you need to change that first. 12 issues of Saga. That's cool. It's funny, there's a label that says the Max, but there's no Max books in here, and there's a lot of Sam Keith stuff. This is Hollows. Oh, you know why? Because he collected Max in the trade paperback format, which I can't imagine that these are still in print, and I have a feeling these are going to fetch some good money. This is the entire run of Max in a trade paperback format, and then you've got Lobo Highway to Hell by Sam Keith, Kick-Ass, the hardcovers, which another fun read if you've never read. So this is the era I was reading all the independent stuff, and I really was not checking out Marvel because I was bored of superhero books that were in the Marvel Universe. An Army of Darkness and Hack and Slash. I've never read Hack and Slash before. I've heard it's really good. There's a couple of the omnibuses in here. 1, 2, 3 omnibuses in here, and then a bunch of single issues. That'll be the end of the single issue run of stuff. I'm going to go grab all the hardcovers and cool things like the best of the best, and then we'll close out the video. One of the things that I'm really stoked on is this McFarlane Toys Savage Dragon figure for the 10th anniversary of Image Comics. I've never read this, but I do really enjoy Kagan McLeod's artwork, and this is called Infinite Kung Fu, and it also is sketched and signed on the inside front cover by Kagan McLeod. Kagan McLeod's a Canadian artist. A couple of things that you might recognize his art from, his painted artwork or his beautiful illustrations. He does a book with Chip Zdarsky called Kaptara, and then he did this amazing print of all these influential hip-hop artists. He did all of the painted end credit paintings for the Disney Plus She-Hulk series. Unfortunately, there was no Volume 1, but Turtles 2, the Ultimate Collection, which reprints the original Turtles black and white books from Mirage Comics, so put that on the shelf. Another one that I've never read. I own most of the single issues, but I was waiting to one day just pick up the softcover or the hardcover, is Charles Burns' Black Hole, which is like a crazy masterpiece about STDs, and it's like a sexual horror book. I don't know, I've never read it. I've only seen images from it, so that'll probably be something I do on book club. Another classic, Fritz the Cat by Robert Crumb, and I've never read it before, and this is the Fantagraphics hardcover. A cool little vintage cassette, Return of the Shredder Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pack with the comic and the cassette. A couple of really dope Michael Allred prints from Mad Men, and they are signed both by Michael and Laura, his wife, who is also the colorist, and she's part of the creative team and always really has been. So there's that. And I think one of the coolest things that I'm sure is going to be fought over by our buddy Maddie from Comics and Brian from Berserk is this great Mad Men 20th Anniversary Monster Edition. I can't wait to look through this. One of the things I saw when I first opened this book up, when I was looking through it at their house, was this amazing pinup by Todd McFarlane of Madman. And everybody's in here. Every artist that ever was important in comics did a pinup in here. That was the haul. All in all, I paid $500 for everything, which was a great deal, I think, for all of the little treasures and miscellaneous stuff that's in here. It's going to be a pain in the ass to go through. Look forward to some of this stuff being out as soon as you watch this episode. There might be stuff out that next Wednesday. So thank you for watching this. This was a fun little one. My first kind of like collection of 2023 that I can really say was more than just a box. Please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button if you're not. Every Wednesday is West Coast Wednesday of comic book auction and claim sale. Every Sunday morning, you see a video like this. And every Sunday night is Sunday of Sit Down. And keep digging, my friends. We'll see ya. Just having some tea. Like a mind bomb.